Hey guys, and welcome back on a brand new YouTube video. And in this video, we're gonna build a very basic folder compressor using Python. And that means that it's giving a folder or multiple files, and it goes ahead and zip them up as a zip file. And a zip file is very useful. Let's say whenever you have, okay, for example, you have a file of 1 GB and you want to manage your storage, and just to export it or transmit it, you have to convert it to a zip file. So it's just gonna be few MBs or maybe kilobytes. So that is the usefulness of compressors or zip files. So we're going to build this adding a GUI to it, and for that we're going to use the Tinker GUI module. And if you have never built any GUI before, like ever, please don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to build one, and I'm going to be explaining everything step by step on how I go about doing that. So please show some support by liking, sharing and subscribing, and please stick around and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is make some imports. So I'm going to do from Tinker, I want to import file dialog, and the next one is going to be from Tinker, I'm going to import asterisk, which is going to import everything from Tinker, and I'm going to do import OS, and I'm going to say from file or from zip file, I'm going to import zip file. So zip file, and after that I'm going to create a window, and I can easily do that by typing tk, and that's just going to create a window for us. And at the end you have to do root.main loop, which is gonna refresh the page frequently, and you just have to add that for the GUI to work. So let me just go ahead and run that and show you guys that it has successfully created a window for us. And to prove, you can see how it looks like right now. So this is a very small window here. Okay, so as you can see, we want to make some changes to it. First of all, I want to increase the size. Like I want to increase the size something like this now. So I want to increase the size to something like this. And the next thing I want to do is I want to change the background color. And I want to change it something like gray. You can change it to any color you like. And as you can see that TK there as the title of the window, and I don't like it. I'm going to change it. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the title. So I'm going to say root.title, and here I'm going to pass in the title. So I'm just going to name it zip file, or let me say zip compressor. So zip compressor, you can name it whatever you like. And for the size, I'm just going to do roots.geometry, and here I'm just going to pass 500, which is for the width. And for the length or for the height, I'm just going to make it 200. You can put whatever you like, but I'm just going to go ahead with this. And to configure the color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say root.config, which stands for root.configure, and I want to configure the background, and I want it to be dark gray. So dark gray. Let's go there and let's run that again, and here we're going to see how it looks like. So as you can see, this is how it looks like right now. You can see the title change and the size, and here you can see the color there. So that is how we want it to be. So now let's just start by creating a function, and I'm going to say load. So this load function is going to open up a file dialog for us, where we can sort through our files and our folders and select a folder or any file we want to work with. So I'm just going to do folder should be equal to, and here I'm just going to say file dialog dot ask directory. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say os dot change directory, and that means that I want to change the directory into the folder. So let's say the OS is now diving into that directory folder. So that is the folder, this variable folder where we asked the directory there. So here at the top, I'm just going to do files, and I'm going to say files is going to be equal to none. So that means that it's just going to be a none value. And here I'm just going to do files should be equal to os.list dir. So this is going to get all the directories under the folder. So, and as you can see, if we actually use this or do this as it is right now, it's not going to work, because you know here we did files is equal to none outside the function. and we actually want to access it inside a function. So to let us change or make changes to these files, variable files outside, I'm just going to use the global keyword, and here I'm going to pass in files. So this is going to be the files, and soon you can see that it has been highlighted kind of, and that means that we can now use it. So after that is done, I'm just going to create a button which is just going to let us, let's say whenever we click the button, it's going to call that function. So I'm just going to name the button load button. You can name it whatever you like, and load button is going to be equal to button, and it's going to have a text which is going to be equal to load, and I'm just going to give it a background color which is just going to be light blue, I guess. And here I'm just going to give it a width, so I just want the width to be 10, and I'm going to give it a command that is whenever we click the button, I want it to do something, and I want it to call the load function here. So that's going to do that for us. And here we have created it, but it's not yet on the screen. So to put it on the screen, I'm just going to do load button dot grid. So this is going to put it in a tabular format where it's going to have rows and columns. So here I'm going to do column, so I want it to be in the first column, and I as well want it to be in the first row. So here I'm going to do row should be equal to 0. And remember that computer starts to count from 0. So that means that this is the first and this is the first one. Let's go there and let's run. And now we're going to see what we just did. So this is how it looks like right now. So now I'm just going to click this button. And when I click it, you can see that it gave us like this file dialog where we can choose any folder we want to go through or anything like that. So what I'm going to do now is I want to add a spacing, like I want to have some space between the button and the window itself. So I can just simply do that by typing pad x should just be equal to 10. Let's go there and let's run that, and now we shall see a bit of space here. So you can see that small space there. So you can just add that if you want to, and if you want to add any spacing like from the vertical, you can just do pad y should be equal to something or whatever. So I'm just going to use pad x for now. And after that, I want to do something else, and I want to provide the user with a with an entry where the user can specify, okay, hey, I want to rename my zip file, and I just want to give it this name. So whenever I zip this file, I want to give it this name. So I want to provide the user with that entry to choose which name he or she wants to give the zipped file. So I'm going to create an entry, and I'm just going to name it zip name entry. So you can name it whatever you like, and this is going to be equal to entry, and here I'm going to pass in width. So I want the width should be 35, and here I'm just going to say font should be equal to a list, and I'm going to leave this blank, and here you can just pass in the font family that you want. So you can use any font family, but I'm going to leave it blank, which means that it's going to use the default font family. And here I'm just going to put a size of 14 for 14 pixels, and after that I'm just going to pack it or place it to the screen. And here I'm going to do zip name entry dot grid, and here I'm just going to pass in column should be equal to 0, and row should be equal to 0. And here I'm also going to add the pad x. So pad x here's time is just going to be 10 too. So here you can see that this is column 0 and this is column 0. So I want the zip name entry to be before the load button. So I'm going to move this to the right hand side, and now let's go there and let's run, and let's see how it looks like right now. So as you can see, this is how it looks like, and this is how it looks like. So I'm just going to reduce this to 7. So I'm going to reduce this to 7. Let's go there and let's run, and let's see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like right now though. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the compress function, which is actually going to do the work, which is going to zip the file for us. And I'm as well going to create a button where the user can as well click the button to run that function. And let me just show you that you can actually type whatever you want to type here. As you can see, it's all working fine. So I'm going to close that, and let me just define a function now. So I'm going to name the function compress, and compress is going to take a parameter of name, and it's going also going to take a parameter of list files. And here I'm just going to say if zip in name, or let me just say if not the zip in name, what I want to do is I want to say name should be equal to str name plus dot zip. So what I did here is that I said that, let's say for example, you know where you have that your entry and when you type in that. So let's say for example I type in my zip files and I don't add dot zip. So let's say I do my zip files, or I just give it this name, my zip files, and I don't add dot zip like this. So when it's gonna go ahead and do it, it automatically gonna add dot zip for me. But if the user actually adds dot zip, it's just gonna go ahead and use that name like that. But if the user didn't add this dot zip, it's just gonna automatically add that dot zip for the user. So that is what we just did here. So I said name should now be equal to str, which means string. I'm gonna wrap it in the string. So I'm gonna say name plus dot zip. So it's just gonna add dot zip to the end. And here we're gonna say with zip file. And here I'm gonna pass a name. So I wanna with zip file name, and here I'm gonna put W. W stands for write, and you can also put R, which stands for read, like read only. So I'm just gonna do W because I want to write it, and here I'm gonna say I want to open it as zip. So you can give it whatever name you like. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it zip, and here I'm gonna say for file in files directory or in list files. So this list file is this one here. So for file in that files, what I want to do is I want to say zip dot write file. So that's going to go ahead and write that file for us. So it's going to, for every file in that list directory, and remember that this files is actually all the files and all the folders that are under this, whatever you choose in that file dialog there. So it's going to wrap all of them in a zip file for us, and it's gonna all at the end is gonna package it to one zip file, and which is gonna have the name that the user specified in that entry. So now that that is done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a button, which is actually gonna be the compress button. So I'm gonna do compress button, and compress button is gonna be equal to a button. It's gonna have a text, which is gonna be equal to compress, and it's gonna have a width, which is gonna be equal to 10. And here it's just gonna have a background color, which is gonna be light green. And let me just add this comma, and this was supposed to be like this. So it's gonna have that, and after that it's gonna take a command, and the command is gonna be equal to lambda. So remember that here we just did command is equal to load like that. But if you notice that this load function doesn't take any parameter or any arguments, so but this compress is actually taking two parameters. It's actually taking a parameter. So here you have to add lambda if you're gonna pass some parameters or arguments to a function. So I'm gonna say command should be equal to lambda, and here I am gonna pass in compress, and here I'm gonna say name. So the first one is name. So name, which is this name over here. So name is gonna be equal to, so let me just move this to the next line, and here, so I'm gonna say name is gonna be equal to, and here I'm just gonna get the name or whatever the user typed in into that zip name entry. So I'm gonna do is gonna be equal to str, which is gonna wrap it as a string, and I'm gonna say dot get. So this is gonna get whatever is inside the zip entry there. So after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comma there, and next one I'm going to say is list files. So this time list files is going to be equal to the files. So it's going to be equal to files. So these files here is the files that we specified or that it loaded for us in this load function. So after that is done, we have to put it on the screen. So it's not yet on the screen, so I'm going to do compress button dot grid, And here I'm going to put column should be equal to 0, which is going to be in the first column. And here I'm going to say row should be equal to 1, which is going to be in the second row. Let's go there and let's run that and let's see how it's going to look like. So as you can see, this is how it looks like here. And I'm just going to open up load one, and I'm just going to use this tic-tac-toe whatever here code that I have here, which is just a code that I wrote about a year ago. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to open it up here, and I've loaded it. So here I'm going to pass in a name that I want to give it. So I'm just going to say my zip files, and I'm just going to do compress, and let me just go ahead and open it up here. And here you can see my zip files.zip. So as you can see, it has created a zip file for us. So to confirm, let me just do this. I'm going to remember in the last video where we created this main.py where it extracts zip files. So I'm going to use this tool that we created in the last video, and I'm going to extract that file for us. So let me go there and I'm going to run that, and I'm going to select that folder to extract, and hopefully you will see that it will work. So here I'm just gonna, you can see my zip file that we created. I'm gonna do open, and in a while you see some files popping up here right now. So as you can see, that's it said done, extracting and done. So here you can see that I created a new this file here that I extracted, and this is just the code, a tic-tac-toe game that I wrote. And here you can see the VMV here, you can see the .idea, everything here. So it all worked perfectly fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that for now. So as you can see, this is how we actually built a file compressor using Python. And if you have any feedback or any suggestion, please leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer those. And please subscribe, like, share, and subscribe again. So without further ado, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.